Greetings. My name is Michael Coughlin. I am the outreach team leader for the College Football 1000 outreach to the Ohio State University. For the last half a decade, I've been going to the Ohio State Buckeyes home games, standing outside in between where the Buckeyes play, called the Horseshoe, and where most of the parking is, and preaching the gospel and handing out tracts. I've brought with me teams of anywhere from 4 to 13, 14 people, and we cover a pretty large area when we have a lot of people and a smaller area when we have a few. The evangelism's always been fruitful and sweet, and certainly tens of thousands of people walk by and hear the gospel every time, and at least thousands get tracts each time. As a result of the COVID-19 shutdowns that we faced, the Ohio State Buckeyes are not allowing fans into their games. So we went down to the very first game, which was October 24 this week, and we went early like we normally would, as Bill Adams has taught us to do. And when we got there, it was so dead. If you'd have told me everyone had left town, I wouldn't have doubted you. I found a parking lot that's normally overflowing with cars, and it just had a truck in it with a man telling me I couldn't park there. And I asked him, I said, well, if I park here, will they tow me? He said, maybe. And I said, okay. And so I went and met my friend Jason Roberts, who goes with me to these events. And we drove down to the Horseshoe, to the stadium, and we saw something that seemed promising. There was a number of cars there. There were a lot of people around the stadium. And I found out later that's because there were 1,500 fans allowed in. I guess they were friends and family of players and coaches. So we continued to drive around the Ohio State campus a little bit until we actually started to see some activity. And where we saw activity was where I would call the campus area, where the students would hang out. So for the last 5 years, I've evangelized where the fans who come to the game would walk by me. And so I've actually seen mostly families, adults, alumni, things like that. We went to the campus area and found students all over the place, walking outside, going to restaurants, going to bars, going to the different places where they wanted to hang out. There were fraternity parties, or maybe sorority, but fraternity houses with parties out on the front lawn all over. And so we parked the car right down there on High Street, where most of this activity happens, and we walked down to what I consider to be kind of the main corner, Lane and High, and we began preaching the gospel. I began preaching, and Jason began handing out tracts. I took a video of the entire endeavor. I don't know if I'll upload that or not, but you can see how the people react to the preaching, and you can see how many people are receiving tracts. You can hear the amens. And so although it wasn't what I would call true sports fan outreach preaching, these were people that were down there carrying on during that time because of the Buckeyes game that was about to be played, and it was I thought a fruitful time of ministry. It's a new mission field for us in a sense, since we don't normally go to the campus where the young people are. We were normally with the ticket holders and the fans, and so we thought it was worth our time. The corner where I stood easily could accommodate 4 people to do tracts and at least 2 preachers. So if you think about a corner having 4 corners, if you have 2 people on one corner and 2 people on the opposite corner, you can effectively get any traffic that crosses the street, and having 2 people allows you to make sure you get people from either direction that come to your corner. You could then have 2 preachers that could take turns preaching. You could pretty much hear the preaching throughout the whole area, so you wouldn't want to have 2 preachers going at the same time unless you really separated yourselves. I could easily have 8 people doing tracts. And so you could have 2 people on every corner, and then people who miss a tract on one corner get it on the next. Somebody who comes to the corner but turns and doesn't actually cross the street, those people could receive tracts. And sometimes people walk to a corner, someone tries to hand them something, they're either distracted or maybe they don't want it. because they don't know what it is and they don't have time to worry about it. So then they cross the street. Well, when they get to the next corner and they see another smiling face offering them a tract, sometimes they'll take it. Sometimes it intrigues them to know, why are so many people trying to give me the same thing? And so our goal for the 4 Ohio State home games is to go down there each time and do the same thing, go to the same location and preach the gospel. I would love to have 8 to 10 people that come with me. I could easily give people work for the entire time of the laboring. And we hope that the Lord, although He has taken away the preaching from the fans that normally would be going to the game from the other location, that maybe He's moved us there because He has elect on the campus whom He's going to save. And so I appreciate anybody that watched this video. If you have any questions, you can leave me comments on the video. You can contact info@sportsfanoutreach or sfoi.org, I think is the email. Very appreciative to all the supporters of Sports Fan Outreach. There are many people like me out there who, on a weekly basis, we're doing these things, and we are completely reliant upon the grace and mercy of our Lord Jesus Christ as the result of the prayers of the saints on our behalf. Thank you.